Welcome back to the Dune Hippie channel. Today, working on some Volkswagen 5x5 arms. These things are getting swapped with some different style hub components. The transaxle in this car was getting changed, so these arms got cut up and got new, whatever you call those things, mounting brackets for the axles to go to and the hubs. And yeah, I'm going to be working on figuring out how to weld them all in there solid and make them be able to go back on the car and be able to work and run, stuff like that. So as you can see, we got some gaps to fill there, some welding to do, all sorts of different stuff. got these arms all done. I even started getting the Ranger beams all done up and kind of just put all that time lapse. I really didn't record a ton. There's just a lot of work involved with this, just cutting, grinding, fitting, welding, and you kind of get the idea after a little while watching the time lapse. So anyways, kind of jumping around, I've got that beam right there. I actually just finished second passes on all of the corners. For the other, I've been bolting it down to my table. I ended up drilling some holes and tapped some threads in there so I can put some clamps from my mill using my toe clamp stuff, and I can actually clamp this down to the table, which is helping me keep a much straighter, nice beam, and I'm not having any warping issues, so that's super cool. So that one's sitting there, ready to start doing the side welds, the second passes, cover passes on all of these welds, and then I need to do the overlay and get that on there. And then that one is, I think I got to do a little more sanding on that one to prep it for the second pass overlapping welds here, these cover passes. So anyways, back to the arms. That's what we were going to talk about first. I got these things all finished up. As you can see here, I ended up coming in, made some tube, slightly bigger size, made some sleeves, and I ended up making a fixture. The fixture's sitting right over there. I was able to, with the fixture, bolt these things down tight, had them together, make them square, and actually then break the tack welds that were on there and move these things up and down and to be able to fit those tubes. So that's how I got those tubes on there. I was able to slide them onto the tube here and then put it back in position and slide it up to the hub. Got some welds on there. Did kind of a double weave on most all the stuff. This is the the bottom side of the arm. So it actually sits on, you would be viewing it like that. So those are the shock mounts. That's where it goes to the chassis of the vehicle. I did end up doing like a plate gusset, a pretty big one on this outside here. Ties all that top plate work into the hub. And then even that tube there, connected those, just really strengthened it up. And then I also did a little gusset, little plate gusset on this side here. So, and then on the very bottom, I did replace the whole piece of tube on both of the arms there. So that piece of tube is all completely brand new, and then everything else is sleeved, and then got those little gussets on there. So that is a little project all knocked out and done now. Was able to use the Lincoln on that project, so that was very nice. Woo. Okay, got those set aside. So that project's all done. Those are getting ready to be picked up now. And then I also took some information, some stuff like that. I got that fixture now too. If I have any more projects with some VW 5x5 arms, yeah, I kind of got a little setup to go on that now. So that's cool. And now the next thing I'm going to be doing, we'll get to more welding on the beam stuff. You know, we're working on that. Once I get those fully done, I'll show you. I got some weld passes on those things though. But now what we're going to do is, for this project actually, I used my uniball cups. Let me grab one here. I have these welding slugs, and what these are for is here's a uniball cup here. These are for dropping in there, and then when you weld these up on whatever you're using them for, you don't want that uniball cup to distort and warp that circle, that diameter. So you need a nice little machine slug that slides in there and keeps that hole a hole. So I've gotten hit up on my Instagram like I normally do on this type of stuff. Other people out there that want these things, they don't know where to buy them. You can't really buy them. You need to find someone that has a machine, and I'm one of the guys that's got the machine. So as you can see here, I've already got a piece of material in there. I've got some material cut up, ready to go. I just finished modifying my program a little bit, and I'm going to run a batch of these out. So I'm going to throw my GoPro on the machine and get this thing fired up. It's off right now, so I just fired up my air compressor. Need to get my lines hooked up, and yeah, we'll get this thing fired up and go through setting up another piece of, I don't know what I call it, or I guess it's going to be another product that I'm going to add to what I'm selling. So if you follow my Doing Hippie machine stuff, if you're looking for machine products, I have a few things. I have a video I've gone over, like my Dana 44 hub covers. Got those sitting there. I've got some link tabs, which actually I got some link tabs right over here. So I make like billet link tabs for axles. And now I got some material. I'm going to mix up some of these. And if you're interested in some welding slugs for uniball cups, I either have these in stock or I've got the programs and the machine and I can get them for you. So yeah, anyways, if you're interested, hit me up to order them. If you're just watching, let's go to the time lapse. Well, that right there is why we run things a little slow when we start out on a new program in the CNC mill. About 5 thousandths a little too deep, and I ended up touching my aluminum inserts on my face mill to my hardened steel jaws, which those will wreck your inserts really fast using aluminum inserts. But just wanted to show those are my first nicks in my nice new jaws. So I had to go make an adjustment in my program, raise this thing up like 5-10 thousandths, fire it back up again. But we are working on the first op of the uniball slug. So it faced it, came in and roughed it, and then it will come in with an end mill and a chamfer, and then we'll flip it over and we'll face off the backside in the second operation. But I don't know, just a little oopsies. There's the last one of Op 1 for these uniball cup heatsink slugs. I had enough material to run 10 of them out, so I've got a bunch of them here sitting with Op 1 done. And I just finished writing a program on my computer with Fusion 360 to come in here, and now I got to do the setup. I'm going to use these aluminum soft jaws I have here, and I'm going to cut this circle in the edge of this right here and allow me to flip these things over. One of these here, set it down in there, and then face it off and chamfer the other side, and then we will have some completed welding slugs. So normal stuff. I'm next day, so I'm just getting my mill fired up. This is normally what it looks like. I just flipped it on, and now I've got to kind of get it set up. So this is always the intro screen that I come to when you first fire it up. So usually, and then I always hit the E-stop when I shut it off. So I first turn that on, and then I hit that, and then it always wants to do a cold start at the beginning. So you got to enter your command, but you can't do a cold start until your axes are all aligned on your zeros. So it's got these little tags. Oh, the one there is buried in chips. Let's see. You can, maybe you can see, maybe you can't. The line on that one's lined up, and then there's one for Z over on the edge over there. So anyways, you line all those up, which I always park the machine at home when I shut it down, so that way it's always just lined up for first thing when I fire it back up. So come down here and I'll type in a CS, that's for cold start, and then hit my enter. And what it does is it takes off and locates itself. It does that on all axes all at once, so X, Y, and Z. Then it'll ask me if it wants to go to the last home position. I hit a no. And now my mill is turned on, fired up, and ready to get set up. And yeah, first I got to modify those jaws, make a little fixture jaw to be able to flip those things over, and then load the program for the other side, and we'll have some completed uniball slugs. Here I have some completed slugs. This is kind of what they look like all done up. Put a nice chamfer on each side, faced off. Here is the uniball cup. Here's an actual uniball, a bearing. That's what actually goes in these once they're welded on. But you can see the kind of fit that they have. You can see how it kind of slowly drops in there. It's a very, very light, just like slip fit, slip. Pretty much perfect. So that nice little slug like that, machined to a tolerance, sliding in like that, will help keep those nice and round for once it's all welded up and on apart. And when you go to press this bearing in, you'll still have a round hole. So for an example, this is I've got them on my beams. That right there is the uniball cup, which is welded. You see me put it on that tube, which is on the inside of my plate beams there. So kind of still working on these beams. I got another day or two of welding on those to go. That's what I'm going to get up to, but I'm going to wrap the video up here kind of with the stuff, kind of just a bunch of different welding stuff in here. These are still sitting here. These are getting picked up, I think, tomorrow, so those are out of here. I think I just got hit up today about another different welding project that's probably going to come in for the on my bench. So I'll probably try to get these out of here. And yeah, just keep on keeping on. It's getting closer to spring around here. We're like a week away from opening day at Silver Lake, so got to get some projects and stuff out there, and got to get some more stuff on my C10 going. So been working on some stuff on that. We'll probably get a video or so going on that, and I don't know. I'm not going to put any time limit on when I'm going to get that out because I really don't know, but going to be trying soon because once the weather does get good, I want to get my C10 out on the Zoom. So thanks for watching my channel. We'll catch you next time. Peace.